Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to episode 4 of the Quran Beheld page by page series. We are covering ayahs 25 through 29 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Inshallah, you guys can join along with your translations. The goal is to build a relationship with the Quran. So, what I'm going to do, reflect on what we've read in the past and try to build on those building blocks. Friendly reminder, if you're able to read the Arabic, I highly recommend to read that before reading the translation. And we'll start from there. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim from Ayah 25. And give bounteous glad tidings to those who believe and do righteous works, that they shall have lush shaded groves of paradise, beneath which rivers flow. As often as they are given of any fruit of them, ample, delicious, regular provision, they say, "This is fully what we have been brought just before." And they are given its very match in perfection. And they shall have bevies of purest wives therein, and in it they shall abide. Verily, Allah is not abashed to strike any similitude whatever, even a gnat, or anything greater. As for those who believe, they know it is truth from their Lord. And as for those who disbelieve, they say, "What would Allah ever mean by this as a preposterous similitude?" He thereby misguides a great many, and by it he guides a great many, not misguiding by it any save the ungodly, who break their word to Allah just as soon as it has been solemnly given, and who sever the ties Allah has bid kept and wreak corruption across the earth. Those are the wholly ruined. How can you disbelieve in Allah when all you were dead and He brought you to life, and then in time shall make you die, then in time bring you back to life, then finally and greater, unto Him shall you be returned. It is He who created just everything on earth for your sake, and greater yet, He had turned His full intent to the sky before, perfecting it in consummate symmetry as 7 heavens, and He well knows every single thing. SubhanAllah, just from thinking about what we have just read, that very first ayah 25, it's almost a stark contrast of the previous ayahs on the last page. There were examples of disbelievers as well as hypocrites, and they were very vivid examples of who they would be and the level of misguidance they would be on. And now Allah's giving glad tidings, or having us give glad tidings to the believers and explaining to us what they'll receive, and beautifying Jannah and explaining to us what a righteous person is going to receive. So He's giving us the two sides of the coin of being a disbeliever versus being a believer. And then Allah goes on to say that Allah can give any types of examples, even examples that are or signs that are the size of a gnat, something extremely small, or extremely small sign, or something greater than that. And the quality of a believer, Allah is saying, is they will believe and say, "This is a truth from the Lord," this small example or small sign. But the qualities of a disbeliever is that the disbeliever will say, "What would Allah ever mean by this as a preposterous similitude or a preposterous example?" They just won't get the example. They won't understand what Allah means by it. They'll confuse themselves and try to create confusion with others. And Allah is saying, through that one example, He will misguide many, and then He will guide a great many. And He's explaining that the misguidance will only come to those who are ungodly, who break their word to Allah just as soon as it has been solemnly given. So it's almost like Allah is giving us a train of thought. He's saying that the misguidance is only given save or misguiding by it any save the ungodly. So the ungodly, Allah is essentially defining this in Ayat 27. It seems so. It's three examples of people who are wholly ruined. So you have the ones who break a promise when they have said wallahi or on the name of Allah, the ones who have broken severed ties that Allah has bid be kept, say ties of family, your mother, your father, or people that have a right over you, you have cut those ties. Or the one who wreaks corruption across the earth. So these three people Allah has pointed out as being wholly ruined. And then Allah asks a question on Ayat 28. How can you disbelieve in Allah when all of you were dead and He brought you to life? And again, then in time shall make you die and then bring you back to life. Then finally and greater unto Him shall you be returned. Allah is asking a question. How can you disbelieve? How can you disbelieve in Allah when we know for a fact we had nothing to do with our births, and we know for a fact we have nothing to do with our deaths? It's all according to Allah, and we have no control over any of this. And then Allah answers that question. He questions how you can disbelieve, and then He answers that how with the fact that it is He who created just everything on earth for your sake. And greater yet, He had turned His full intent to the sky before, perfecting it in consummate symmetry as 7 heavens, and He well knows every single thing. It forces you to think about these questions that non-believers often forget to ask themselves, because the dunya is just filled with so many distractions. If you're a Muslim and you give da'wah, some of the best da'wah you can give is when you ask the question, where do you think you're going to go when you die? Or how certain are you that you know what happens after death? And Allah is asking the same thing in a way where He's just pinpointing that He is the one who gave you life and took it away, and will give you life again and will take away, and then have you meet Him when you return to Him. SubhanAllah. So that's the end of this episode. I think very, overview is Allah's contrasting the disbelievers from the previous page. He talks about how a believer looks at an example that comes to him, a sign. Some people may see something happening in front of them and they'll understand that it's a sign from Allah, that this must be from Allah. Look at how, look, I was struggling with money and now somebody came and gifted me just enough money for me to get by with my family. That's a miracle. And someone in that situation who is a believer of Allah will say this is a miracle, while somebody else will say this is all I got. Yeah, I needed this to survive this one day, but if God really existed, then I would get this, and that, and they might not be grateful, subhanAllah. So Allah is giving these examples of almost like who a believer is and who a disbeliever is, again, and giving us more depth of that relationship in this dunya. So until next time, inshallah, I'll continue on the next page. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.